Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming here today. Today, we're going to be doing a webinar about the funding that's available from Sligo Leader, and we're going to have David O'Malley, who's the Rural Development Officer at Sligo Leader, and he's going to basically talk to you about the types of projects they'll fund and how you can apply for it. But first, I'm just going to do a very brief introduction to the Sustainable Energy Community Programme. My name is Peadar Geelan, and I'm the Sustainable Energy Community Mentor for Sligo. So, what is a sustainable energy community? Basically, it's a community that works together to develop a sustainable energy system for the benefit of the community, aiming to be as energy efficient as possible and use renewable energy where feasible and consider smart energy solutions. It can be as small as a street or as large as a county or an entire region. Some of the benefits of joining a sustainable energy community. Changing the way we think about energy can basically have huge impacts for sustainability and the environment, reducing our carbon, reducing the amount of greenhouse gases we produce will have a huge impact on the environment. Probably something that's more relevant to people. We can reduce energy bills in the community by doing local energy projects. This means we were able to free up more money to spend in the community in the longer term. But probably the biggest benefit, community energy projects mean warmer, healthier homes and community buildings. So it's going to improve the quality of life for people in those communities, and especially the most vulnerable in those communities. We have 21 sustainable energy communities already here in Sligo, and if your community would like to join the Sustainable Energy Community Programme, you can email me peadar.geelan@atu.ie. And if you want to get that email address, this will be going up on the YouTube page of the Contract Research Unit tomorrow. I'll send out an email with a link to this to all the people who have attended here, so you'll be able to get my email address. So now I'm going to hand you over to David O'Malley, the Rural Development Officer for Sligo Leader, and he's going to talk to you about Leader funding. So, David, if you want to go ahead.
Cheers. Thank you, Peadar. Good evening, everyone. My name's David O'Malley. I'm the Rural Development Officer with Sligo Leader Partnership. Just a little bit on Sligo Leader Partnership. We're one of 49 local development companies based across Ireland. We provide an integrated range of programs covering employment supports, enterprise grants, social inclusion programs, training, wellbeing, and environmental supports. So sometimes when they think of Sligo Leader Partnership, they instinctively think of Leader funding, but there's a lot more to the partnership than Leader funding. But that's why we're here tonight. So the Leader Rural Development Programme for 2023-2027, it's a community-led approach to rural development. It's funded through Ireland's CAP Strategic Plan 2023 to 2027, and the funds come from the European Union, the European Agricultural Fund for Rural Development. There's 3 actors to the programme in County Sligo. Sligo Leader Partnership, we're the implementing partner. The financial partner are Sligo County Council, and then the overall body is the LAG, the Local Action Group, and in this case it's Sligo LCDC, and I'll touch on that towards the end of the presentation. The programme itself provides funding, support and guidance to local communities and businesses in rural areas with the focus on economic and social development and environmental sustainability. Now, the programme itself has 3 main themes. So theme 1 is economic development and job creation. Theme 2 is rural infrastructure and social inclusion. And theme 3, which is pertinent to tonight, is sustainable development of the rural environment and climate change mitigation and adaptation. Now, theme 1, the green economy, can come under theme 1, economic development and job creation. So if we move on to why we're here, theme 3, sustainable development of the rural environment and climate change mitigation and adaptation. So the funding allocation until 2027 for this theme is 915,000. Theme 3 is broken down further into sustainable development of the rural environment, climate change capacity building, climate change mitigation and adaptation. Now, as you'll see when I talk further, a lot of potential projects that come under those three themes, they cross over. So a lot of what we'll talk about, it's crossover between all three sub themes. So the first sub-theme is sustainable development of the rural environment. So here Leader Funding is looking to support the protection and improvement of local biodiversity and sustainable development of local waterways and to support sustainable energy initiatives, energy efficiency and sustainable waste management. So what is that? Well, we're looking at the significant potential for community sustainability initiatives, renewals, the circular economy, and biodiversity protection. So, it's awareness building, it's support for community projects to install sustainable energy alternatives, for example, solar panels. It's to support community projects, aimed at waste reduction, programs to enhance the environmental performance of community facilities and support for alternative or renewable energy actions, addressing sustainability of new technologies. From the previous Leader program, we would have funded an enterprise unit, community enterprise unit in West Sligo. They applied for solar panels and also for a new lighting system to reduce their carbon footprint. So that would be one example of what Leader could fund. Moving on to look at examples of biodiversity and waterway potential. So the support for rainwater harvesting, there again, community waste initiatives, support for community invasive species management, support for community groups in habitat mapping and recording of protective species, and capital supports as well for organisations proactive in the conservation of local biodiversity. There's a few more there, but I suppose for there again to touch on what we have funded previously, we funded a nature trail in Riverstown. And within that, there was storyboards, nest boxes, squirrel boxes, there was hedgehog boxes, owl boxes, and there was a mink-proof duck pond and a pheasant aviary. So, there's a lot that we can fund. I suppose it's just getting the community groups to come and engage with us. Um, if we move on then to climate change capacity building. So here we're looking to support and promote access to education, training and animation supports for rural communities to participate in climate action. Um, Here again, we're looking to support awareness raising projects, highlighting climate change and climate action and improving local biodiversity. Also looking to support design and delivery of training programs to build communities' capacity to develop climate action projects and support communities in climate action strategic planning. There again, to touch on an example, we would have funded Sligo Tidy Towns previously in a biodiversity and sustainability training program for residents associations and community groups. So it was just empowering community groups to develop biodiversity plans, try and get away from the use of pesticides, create wilding areas for butterflies and kind of those little habitats that they might be small but they'll have an impact. So it's that making that small little change, but it has a wider consequences. And then the final sub theme is climate change mitigation and adaptation. So I suppose here we're looking to support and develop climate change adaptation and mitigation projects in the county. So what does that mean? So like all these, support the community circular economy. So that is becoming a big thing, the circular economy. There again, community waste management projects, support food sustainability projects and encouraging the development of community gardens, supporting innovative biodiversity projects, and then support for community healthy habit projects, cycling, walkways. They're kind of big things that Leader have funded previously is community walkways, you know, retrofitting buildings, and then a thing that seems to be coming more to the fore now. We haven't funded anything like this yet, but groups starting up kind of circular economy around repairing bikes, taking in bikes, having a kind of a bike shed on a Saturday, doing up a bike and giving it a new lease of life. And I know in County Galway at NUIG, a social enterprise came out of such a project of recycling bikes, and eventually they started to sell the bikes, and a social enterprise came came from that. The big project things for communities like retrofitting the building, new windows and doors, solar panels, upgrading the heating systems. I suppose they're all core things that Leader can fund, along with the biodiversity plan. And if you're looking to bring a consultant in to train the wider community about the habitats in the area, and how you can make a difference on a day-to-day basis as a community group, and then the wider public. Um, if we move on to talk about the funding then that's available to both private and community. So if you're a community applicant, the max funding available is 75% of the total project cost, up to a maximum of €200,000. You have to bring 25% matching funds, and you also have to be able to fund the project through to completion, and Leader then you recoup at the end. If you're an enterprise and you're looking, and you're eligible for some environmental element, it's 75% of the total project cost, up to a maximum of 75,000. And there again, same as the community, you have to have 25% matching funds, and you have to be able to fund the project until end when you recoup. Training, so there's a maximum here. You can 100% training is funded up to a maximum of 200,000. And then analysis and development. So there we're talking about our feasibility studies. So it's up to a maximum of 90% of total project cost, to up to 30,000. So in that instance, you need 10% matching funds. So the application process, well, we say to everybody is, we'll have our contact details at the end, is engage with us, talk to us. Is your project eligible? If you're a business, is your business eligible? If we get over that hurdle, then the first stage is an expression of interest. So just documenting what your project is, what your business is, or your community group, who they are, and estimated costs of your project. We go through the expression of interest, and if everything is eligible we go to application stage. Application stage, I'll talk a little bit more about that. And after application stage, it goes to an independent evaluation committee. So it's presented to the independent evaluation committee. They make a recommendation to the LAG, which is the Sligo LCGC, and then they'll either approve, and 9 times out of 10, if it passes the evaluation committee, it'll pass the LAG approval. So then you're approved. You run through your project, you complete it, and then you come back to Leader to draw down your grant. And there's a claim stage after that. So some additional consideration for applicants. So dead weight. So this will be a question that will be asked is, can you, do you really need the funds? Can you fund the project yourself? And you have to be able to show that you can't. Matching funds, do you have the required 25% matching funds? That can be an issue. You do require it, but I would say engage with us if there's an issue around that, and we look to see what can be done to get around it. Bridging finance, so you have to pay, you have to see the project through, and then you recoup at the end. So some community groups will go to Tlon Credo, Community Finance Ireland, Western Development Commission, or their local credit union for bridging finance. And obviously you're not going to sign up to a loan before you've been approved for your Leader funding. So most of those will provide a letter of comfort, saying that if you're successful with your Leader application, then we will provide bridging finance. And finally, public procurement. So as Leader is public funds, you'll have to follow the public procurement rules. So be it, you may have to get 3 quotes, or you may have to go 5 quotes, or if it's over 200,000, you may have to go down the e-tenders routes. But these are all points that we look at when we engage with you. Some documents, this isn't all, but these are kind of some of the main documents you would need at application stage. It's 3 years accounts, 3 months bank statements, governing documents. So if you're a CLG, your constitution, or if you're a community group, your constitution, your tax clearance cert, your VAT status, if you're VAT registered or non-VAT registered, we need confirmation. Um, Evidence that the procurement process followed. So, dependent on the value and if it was capital or if it was equipment, did you meet the procurement process? Proof of matching finance and bridging finance, and then also providing details of grants received in the last 3 years. So there's a bit more, but I suppose that's just a brief overview of the leader application process and what we can potentially fund from an environmental side. And what I've gone through there isn't exhaustive. I mean, we're looking at the community and enterprise to come to us with ideas, and then we can see if it can fit into the leader framework and if it's eligible, because you know we're not experts either on everything that's the environment. So definitely engage with the ATU, the climate action officers with Sligo County Council. Um, and eh, like if you have an idea, come talk to us. We'll tease it out. If it's not all eligible, we'll pick out the parts that are, and we'll try and work around that. Um, so that's kind of the main points. Our contact number is there and our email. If you wish to discuss something in more detail, um, by all means give us a call or send an email, and we'll arrange a call back and go through your project idea. So that's all for me, Pazzer. If you,
Thank you
is
very
it,
much, David.
yeah,
It's worth mentioning that through the Sustainable Energy Communities Programme, we have supported communities applying for leader funding. So if you wish, you can sign up as a sustainable energy community on the SEAI website, or if you want to use that email address that I had at the start of the presentation,